We are here in Nara, Japan, looking up at the massive temple complex of Todaiji, the largest and most important Buddhist temple in Japan at the time of its creation. Todaiji was actually the central administrative temple in a newly formed network of temples across Japan.
Yes, this complex was originally built in around 740 CE when Nara was Japan's capital, but later rebuilt in the 12th century after the first temple was burned down in the midst of a civil war.
Both times it was constructed, it was a symbol of power of the new leader and their Buddhist connection, whether that be Emperor Shomu of the Nara era in the 8th century or the newly formed Kamakura era in the 13th century. Imperial leaders were quick to accept Buddhism on its arrival to Japan, and elites became the patrons of early Buddhist art and architecture. This created a connection between sacred and secular power.
But it was not initially wanted by the Republic because of the high tax implemented in order to pay for the massive scale building project and the amount of timber and workers needed for the building project.
But you must admit that all that hard work was worth it. The complex is absolutely gorgeous, containing 2 9-story pagodas, a lecture hall, and quarters for the monks. At the heart of the complex stands the Daibutsun, or the Great Buddha Hall, which when completed in 752 measured 50 meters by 86 meters and was supported by 84 massive cypress pillars. The Great Hall holds a huge bronze Buddha figure created between 743 to 752 and required most of the bronze available in Japan at this time.
The lotus petals that the Buddha sits upon, while currently replicas, are intricately etched with fleshy figures with swelling chests, full faces, and swirling drapery in a style typical of the elegant naturalism of Nara era imagery.
Todaiji is also generally associated with its famous guardian kings and the newly formed Kei style, found in the Great South Gate, built in the second construction phase.
These figures have the same function as the Lamassu of Assyria, protectors at the gate to the complex that also show the power of the place itself. And now we are here in Luoyang, China, looking at the Longmen Caves. These were originally started back in 494 CE, when the Wei dynasty had been ruling this area. They had been powerful Buddhists, which was not compatible with some surrounding dynasties.
The Weis believed that their emperor was the reincarnation of Buddha, which was shown in one of their first carvings. The face depicted is smiling, and a halo is carved above, showing that he is welcoming. Floral designs surround the body and are laid on the clothes, which all represents connections to nature and peace.
This is especially significant in his clothing, and the flowers were originally painted in bold shades of blue, reds, golds, and ochres. All of these details come together to show religious power, especially the halo, and are meant to be a safe and watchful power. The artists wanted people who came to visit to feel the Buddha's welcoming presence, as well as a personal connection. Buddhism does not have religious buildings for congregations and services, since it is more of a personalized religion.
Now the Buddha is surrounded by other historical figures who have put off paradise to help save others.
They are shown in a pentad, which is a powerful grouping number in Buddhism.
These are not the only carvings in the mountain. There are many other commemorative caves and statues carved throughout the mountain. Over following generations, different dynasties and powers carved their own Buddhist connections into the mountain, with the Tang dynasty's pentad, as well as the hyper-realistic monks lining the walls of the Kanjing temple. The mountain altogether shows the continuation of religion over centuries, as well as a blending of cultures and art styles. We are now standing in the National Palace Museum of Taiwan, looking at the royal hunting portrait of Kublai Khan, a hanging scroll painted with ink and colors by Liu Quan in 1280. The painting is in the style of the earlier Qin and Tang masters, which studied realism.
Kublai Khan was the inheritor of the Yuan dynasty from his conquering grandfather, Genghis Khan, and had to show his new subjects the power that he held. In the portrait, he rides a central black horse and wears a white robe of nobility. The Empress Chabi is by his side, and they are surrounded by servants, officials, and foreign diplomats.
The painting is full of power symbols, from the hunting hawk in the hands of one rider, to the tamed wildcat on the back of another horse, to the rider with a bow and arrow shooting down geese. The background is a golden steppe landscape on the edges of the Gobi Desert. A camel train adds life to the otherwise barren backdrop. The Mongols originated in the steppe regions of northern and central Asia and spread throughout Asia and the Middle East via conquering.
The intricate details only serve to make the emperor look refined and worthy of his title, and such artworks make the artist Louis Kahn a court painter of high esteem.
Our final stop in Asia is Seoul, Korea, where we can find the Nandanam Gate. This was built in 1396 for the new capital at the time, Joseon, and was followed by 7 other gates in the fortress wall of the city.
This is made in the pagoda architecture style, but is also considered the best Joseon Dapo style walls and buildings from that time. It has a stone foundation as well as a bracketed wooden superstructure. The elaborate gateways and ornate columns and support beams are symbols of the ruler's authority and power. The south direction of this gate is also the most important in Korean culture, symbolizing fire, a place for farewells, public punishment, all listed on the record of the Joseon Wanjo Silok.
The gate has served many purposes over the years, as a monument, safeguard, battleground, and even a current marketplace. In the Nandanam Battle of 1907, the Japanese tried to invade, but to no avail, and were beaten by the Koreans. Many have to look to it as a vital part of their culture, and it was even declared the first national treasure.
Many political issues have also been faced surrounding the gate over the years. In the 1950s, the gate was rebuilt, which was partially symbolic of the nation's change in power at the same time.
The gate today now hosts a 24-hour marketplace, which is a congregational place and a pinnacle of modern Seoul.
After reviewing all of these pieces, we have concluded that they all share a common trait in power.
Todaiji was a massive building project for these new regimes that solidified their right to rule. The combination of secular and religious control is shown through this complex.
The Longmen Caves show both the power of Buddha himself as well as the use of religion to spread dynastic control. The Wei dynasty used reincarnation to both connect to the religion and have divinity being a leading reason for loyalty in the people. These caves also exhibited a sharing of cultural power, with following dynasties using Buddhism in the same manner.
Painted for the emperor of a new dynasty, the Kublai Khan hunting scene highlighted the Khan's strengths and power as an emperor. Surrounded by his officials and servants, he is the most powerful character in the scene.
The Namdaemun Gate was built at the beginning of a new regime and was a symbol of the strength of the nation as well as a congregational spot for the people. The multiple reconstructions also represented a change in the country.